Did you vote today? I did. While I waited in line for my ballot, I heard the lady say, okay, put your finished ballots in here and don't forget to take your Snickers. And I thought, isn't that great? We get a candy bar after we vote. So I voted and I went up to the line to put my ballot in, and they weren't Snickers. They were stickers that said I voted today. I'm hard of hearing. Dang it! So I was so mad I didn't even take a sticker, but I wore red, white, and blue today because I voted. That's got nothing to do with baseball. The DLLS Rangers podcast starts right now. Yeah, if money was no object, I think I agree with Janet. I'd say yes to all three. Gallagher champ, not so much. The decisions are many now for your Texas Rangers. Jeff has just published. Am I right? Yeah.
Just a little primer. Not really free agency, so to speak. I mean, it's part of what's going to happen, but I didn't make any predictions or anything like that.
All right.
This is like what do the Rangers have to do here in the next couple of days to get ready for free agency?
Perfect.
Yeah, things to expect.
Jeff Wilson, John Radigan, the cat, the queen over there. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Glad to have you in there and chatting already. And yes, it is that time of year when the Rangers and every other team in baseball have so many decisions to make. Through the course of the program, we'll get to some of the decisions that other teams have already made that will affect the Rangers. And at some point, we may also talk about all the people who are out there that the Rangers have no shot at because they'll cost too much money, as the Rangers definitely plan on austerity this offseason. By God, they are going to be under the collective bargaining tax. We still don't know for sure if they were last year. I think we'll find that out at some point, but not sure if they were or they weren't. I'm not sure they know yet because it's a calculation that's done, by Major League Baseball when they take into consideration all those things like the bonuses and so forth that the Rangers have paid. But anyway, there are lots of decisions to make, Jeff, because there are 12 free agents on the Rangers team. We showed the three pitchers there, several other players, and more pitchers, ironically, but other players as well.
Yeah, 9 pitchers, and then the 3 position players are Dylan Moore, Rowdy Tellez, and Donovan Solano, who you might have forgotten was even added to the roster. Yes, I did. And I don't know that they're candidates to be re-signed.
Yeah.
At least not to a major league contract.
No.
And then the 9 pitchers. Now you saw a third of them there on our thumbnail: Armstrong, Kelly, Malley. But there's also Hobie Milner who's in there, Gray and Martin who are probably going to retire. So there are some guys you've heard of: Coulomb and Maton, the 2 guys added at the trade deadline. Yep. So names that you probably would like to have back. All things being honest. I mean, everybody has their bumps in the road, but I thought that Maton and Coulomb pitched pretty well. Coulomb, it turned out, was dealing with a little shoulder deal that led to his maybe a couple of his hiccups. But they know what they know what to expect.
Yes.
Even with the new manager coming in, not all the coaches are going to be new. Like Coulomb, for instance, lives in Richardson.
Right.
Boy, Hobie Milner lives in North Richland Hills. I'm sure they enjoyed the heck out of their commutes
100%.
to the ballpark this year. So I would suspect that those moves will be top of mind. I mean, you're going to have to rebuild the bullpen because there are a lot of relievers. I mean, they were all signed to one-year deals last year anyway, so you kind of knew this was coming. The question is, can you get them as affordably as you did last year? And in the case of Armstrong,
no way,
and Milner, probably not.
No.
And Maton and Coulomb, maybe. So, but the biggest piece of the puzzle is how much money will the Rangers have to conduct all of this business that they need to conduct. And, certainly Chris Young has said they're going to be below the collective bargaining tax. Is that what? No, competitive balance.
Competitive balance.
God.
That's it. Yeah.
Competitive balance threshold, which this year goes up to, I think, $247 million, which is a pretty dang hefty payroll.
It is.
If we're being honest, that's a big payroll.
Yeah.
But how much are they going to trim from that? Because again, as we talked about yesterday, Ray Davis looks at this as a business, and he is shelling out some money from his own very, very, very deep pockets. The TV money that the Rangers have had to lean on in the past isn't there anymore. And as they try to fund their own network and raise advertising dollars to put into the payroll, that's slow to develop. So there are a lot of questions here with the payroll that we've known were coming, and now that free agency is open, it appears to be coming to a head. These are interesting times, and I don't know that we're ever going to know the exact number. I don't think Chris Young is ever going to say, "Oh yeah, we're only going to have $180 million to spend this year." Well, they've already got 130 of it tied up into 5 players. So I do expect now more than ever that one maybe two of those high price guys has got to go.
Right.
I would not, however, trade DeGrom or Eovaldi. If you expect to win,
contend,
and that's what Chris Young has said all along. We're going to contend. Don't know why you want to get rid of 2 of the top 10 pitchers in the American League.
No, though that is how you contended this year, right? You didn't contend with offense this year. You did obviously contend to a certain extent with that great defense, and it enhanced the pitching. But the pitching was the reason that you contended this year. So if you're going to stay in the hunt next year, you certainly don't want to go backwards, because no matter what they do with the offense and no matter who they bring in as an offensive coach or the offensive coaching staff, you won't know that this offense is going to be any good. You won't. You won't know that until it is. And then you won't know that it's consistent until it is, because it was really good in 23. At the beginning of 23, we were going crazy at how good this offense was.
Right.
And obviously then 24 happened, and then, so we made the tweaks and we did a few things to make it get better, and then 25 happened. So. Yeah,
it's, and among the moves that have to happen this week, right? A lot of it is just roster cleanup. So the 40-man roster has already been trimmed by 12 because these guys were on the 40-man roster, these free agents, and now they're not there. So, 28 spots. Well, you got to add in the 60-day IL guys. The Rangers have 6 of them. They have more than 6, but John Gray is expected to retire.
Right.
So I'm not really counting him here. So anyway, they got to add back 6, and maybe they have to add back Gray. I'm not sure. Or maybe they have to make a procedural move with him in the coming days. But that number is going to get trimmed in half at least. So you're going to have 34 spots on the 40-man roster. You can still create additional room by DFAing players. The non-tender deadline is on the 21st, and you can create more roster players there. But you're going to need some roster spots for perhaps you acquire a guy before then, like they did last year with Kyle Higashioka. And also, you have to set your 40-man roster for the offseason on November 18th. And that includes guys you want to protect from the Rule 5 draft. So you need to figure out how many of those guys you're going to have. If you think you're going to add any players before then, you got to have the room for them. So maybe a couple guys who are maybe out of options, do get DFA'd. So we shall see. But Thursday is the day that free agency opens, full-fledged free agency where they can talk to anybody. And those are also the deadlines when you have to have a lot of these moves done. Two things that don't affect the Rangers. They really don't have anybody they'd make a qualifying offer to. Right. Kelly is not subject to the qualifying offer because he was acquired. He was traded. Players who are traded in the season who become free agents cannot be extended a qualifying offer. Otherwise, of course, they would do that. And then I guess the one that might be a discussion would be Malley. But do you want to pay him $22 million next year? But if you think he's going to get a multiple-year deal that exceeds $22 million,
then you get a
you could offer it to him. He would decline it. And you'd get draft pick compensation if you were to sign somewhere else. So, but I don't really think that applies. Did I mention that they don't have any player options, or the players don't have any? They don't have any team options, and players don't have any player options, so they don't have to worry about any of those decisions to be made by Thursday. So, again, it's just procedural, and it's really something that only the really diehard baseball fans and beat writers to know about. But there will be some things coming, and then there's still the dang coaching staff.
Right.
Look, if you think you're going to have a guy on the hook early in free agency who's a pitcher,
you better know.
Who are you going to tell him the pitching coach is? He probably wants to know because he knows who it's not going to be. He knows it's not going to be Mike Maddox, which could be a factor depending on who his replacement is. So, let's just get some of this stuff done. Let's announce this coaching staff and go from there. Yeah,
and I do remember, speaking of Mike Maddox and what a draw he might be, I remember the year, of course, that the Rangers were able to talk, and Chris Young was able to talk Bruce Bochy out of retirement and bring him back into the ranks as a manager. Many people within the organization and many people I know, that are former baseball players, said getting Maddox back is almost as big. It's like 1 and 1A as getting Bochy. I mean, that's the kind of draw he had and has as a pitching coach. So it's definitely something they consider pitchers, not just, who the manager is, but who the guy they're going to be working with on a daily basis is. So, along those lines, there was a letter posted yesterday from Tony Beasley, and Bees said all the things you would expect Bees to say. He just loved his time in Texas. He's there for a decade. It was one of the most, as he mentions in there, one of the most difficult times in his life happened when he was with the Rangers, and that's, of course, when he had to battle cancer. But one of the best accomplishments professionally was, of course, winning the World Series. Much love. Bees with a little peace sign at the end. We'll miss the man hugs, the bro hugs from Bees that we shared all the time with him around the dugout or the batting cage or in the clubhouse. But I will say this: I've seen so many people on the social medias saying, "Oh man, I'm going to miss Tony Tuesdays." You don't have to stop following him, and I'll tell you this: he will keep doing Tony Tuesday, right?
Yeah, so, you think so.
Keep following him, and you'll still be able to be inspired by some of the things that Tony says. And he's proud of the fact, like, he doesn't use a book or he doesn't go to some, Confucius says kind of a calendar.
Yeah, it's not a fortune cookie.
Right, to come up with his Tony Tuesdays. He says, and one of the reasons some days it's a little later, he said he just kind of puts down on Tony Tuesdays what the spirit moves him to say. So anyway, I don't want you to just feel like Tony Tuesdays won't be there or abandon Bees as a follow, because we both believe, and Jeff's spoken with him, he's going to end up somewhere else in baseball. So it's always fun to also see what's happening from that perspective.
Yeah, just a good man, John. Getting a lot of spam there.
Oh, no kidding. Jeez,
yeah, it's these election people. Fortunately, mine are mostly text messages, but I got 2 in the last 20 minutes before the show started. He already voted. Stop calling him.
Right. I should have worn the sticker. If it was a Snickers, I'm so damn happy.
Tony, and some people talked about, he's a terrible third base coach. How often did Tony Beasley cost the Rangers a game this season or in his last 15 years. You know, you can't.
I remember one this year where we interviewed him, right? We were inclined to interview him after the game. I remember one, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one in Houston. Where,
that's it. Yeah.
I can't remember. Was it Jonah that he sent home on the single to left, and he was an easy out? But you know, he explained himself and stood up to it. You also have to remember that he doesn't just coach third base. He was the outfielders coach the last 2 years, and he took and helped Wyatt Langford go from defensive liability, because you'll remember coming out of spring training of 24, it was like, how much defense is this guy going to play?
Yeah,
he was a catcher 2 years ago, and this year he was a Gold Glove finalist. So that tells you some of the impact he has. And then on top of that, he's just a great person. He liked to, you know, expose players to things like, you know, when he was going through his cancer treatments and during the spring of 16, I believe it was, maybe 17, he took Joey Gallo with him to a treatment to let Joey, who has been the star player and I won't say coddled, but had a lot of things
life had been pretty good. Yeah.
You know, hey, this is because Tony wasn't the only one in there getting a treatment.
Right.
There are some people who are a lot worse off than
this is real life.
Than old Tony. And but yeah, what a guy, and he will sorely be missed by the organization, by the media, by the fans. Just a good dude.
Really good dude. We will miss him. But we move on, and we anxiously await what the news is from Rangers land. We do think at this point that Corey Ragsdale probably moves over to become the third base coach. He is staying with the team, and then we'll figure out who will be at first and who's on first. Oh, yeah. You see what I did there? And then we'll also figure out who the rest of the coaches are, most importantly, pitching and hitting. Those are pretty big ones. More coming up. Let's talk about what's going on around baseball and around the Rangers and how these things affect the Rangers. Let's talk about the award finalists and which Rangers were maybe shunned in the awards as the finalists were announced yesterday, and some of them. That's next. DLLS Rangers podcast.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. I tell you what, I've been on a little bit of a Prize Picks heater. I like that. I've been doing pretty darn good, and it's pretty simple because we make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And look, it makes sports so much more exciting. If you have, like I usually do, $3. If I've got a little $3 bet on a game, makes me a little more interested in things. And that's whether you're a football fan, baseball, basketball, hockey. They have so much more. Tennis, MMA, soccer.
Yeah.
It's endless. Anyway, Prize Picks is simple to play. It's more or less of a statistical category on 2 to 6 players. You can do it for as little as $1. For instance, I had last night George Pickens more or less than 68.5 yards, and he got there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that, and it's so much fun. So here's what you need to do. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code DLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLS to get 15 lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Hey, so today is one of those days where you can get the pop-up branch hat, hockey hair hat. Thursday, is that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, our guys will be out there. Our whole crew will be out there, no doubt, wearing their hockey hair hats. But today, you could run by there and get one. They're brought to you by PNC. It's the Main Street branch, and PNC knows it takes a long time to grow hockey hair such that it will come out from under your hat. It also takes a long time to make your investments grow. But you see what they did there? They tied them all together. All you have to do is get your hockey hair hat to remind you what you need to do with PNC, which is give them some cash and let it grow. PNC, we love the Main Street branch. Okay, so first of all, where was Natalie? Will Davis, let's see why go over the tax, or is that a no matter what? A no matter what. I think it's not. They're not going over this year. I think he's steadfast this year. And I will say, especially if it comes out that they went over this past year.
Yeah.
And if they went over this past year, it seems, Jeff, like that's sort of the most egregious way to do it. Because if they did, they went over by 1 million or by 2 or maybe 3.
Yeah.
And yes, granted, because that would be the third year in a row they did, they have to pay a 50% tax on that. To be honest with you, he's miserly, but he's not so tight that he's really that worried. Hate to say this, but he's not that worried about 50% tax on 1 million or 2 million, right? But what he's worried about is next year, because it gets more and more penal each and every year that you go over. And at some point, and even Steinbrenner said this last year, even the haughty Yankees, all the money they have, Steinbrenner said, we can't do this every year. Obviously, the Dodgers can. They don't care. But, Steinbrenner's like, we can't just keep going every year over the CBT. And it does make sense to get it back to zero, right? At some point, you've got to bite the bullet and get it back to zero. As you do that, what you really hope doesn't have to happen is that you don't have to rebuild.
Right.
And that's the line we believe we are still teetering on.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a rebuild? It'll depend on what happens in the next few weeks.
Yeah. If you can trade contracts for multiple, and hope to get them, some good players back that would be winners, not prospects, guys who have major league time and things like that. In that case, it's probably a retooling or a reshuffling and not a rebuild. But if you're trading away these guys, let's say Marcus Semien,
sure,
and plugging him in with Cody Freeman, no offense to Cody Freeman, you're rebuilding.
Taking a step backwards.
And same thing with like Seager or Evaldi or DeGrom, these guys who are eating up $120 million between the four of them. If you ship them off and all you get back is prospects or promising young major leaguers, that's not, depending on what you do with the savings and the money, because you are going to save some money if you're going to have, $40 million to throw around. It depends on what you do with that $40 million. I just don't know that they want to tie it up into one player again.
Yeah.
So, with the Rangers still in radio silent mode here, we really don't for sure know what the payroll is and what's going to happen. But as things stack up and stand right now, it doesn't look like the Rangers are going to be incredibly active in free agency.
No.
And their trades are going to have to be smart trades and, save some salary if maybe one or two of these guys. But my God, it just from where they were 2 years ago, we were probably at a parade right about now. Or maybe it was yesterday.
I think
2 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just, you're just kind of scratching your head and wondering what happened to the money. It's probably the TV deal, but you still have this owner who, could give everybody in the chat right now $1 million and not even lose a minute's sleep over it.
Wow. Yeah.
Think about it that way.
Yeah. Could he give the host a little more? I mean, we're kind of
inspiring. He'd probably give me a lot less, but
yeah, me too. Yeah.
But the point is, it's just kind of, I'm a little boggled by it.
Yeah, it's troubling. I love, who suggested it? Was it Caligachamp? Yeah. What about Wash? It's a long shot. As a third base coach, Kellyman chimes in, best third base coach of all time. I do know this, that Wash, through an emissary, has reached out to the Rangers and said, I would love to work there. It doesn't have to be as manager. So that'd be awesome. I mean, wouldn't that be great?
That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be
That'd
great
be a lot
if
of
all
fun.
of a sudden we heard, one of the things that the Rangers have decided to do is make Ron Washington their third base coach. I really don't think that's happening. I think you're right, Gallagher Champ. It's a long shot, but how cool would that be? And And I think it also would be good for this organization and for this team. I think Wash would be a really good influence on this team. And if he is willing, which I'm told he is, that he doesn't need to be a manager, he'd be a great influence, as he was in Oakland, as he was in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Wash. I'm going to do that on the way home. I don't want to do it now because Wash typically will call you right back.
Right back, yeah.
I don't want to take a call during the middle of the show, but we'll see what happens there. It would be, I mean, everybody would love that.
Oh.
You know, if you're searching for PR, then yeah,
Right?
bring Wash back.
Yeah.
If you're, but he also teaches these young guys how to.
Well, that's
the young infielders.
Yeah.
And he holds them accountable.
Yes.
All young players. Now he may not have the same flex as the manager,
right?
But my God, Ron Washington, you guys all remember what he did with a young Elvis Andrus, for instance.
Yeah,
I think Rudy Odor's career would have turned out differently if Ron had still been the manager. And then you look at the Braves and Ozzie Albies and the influence he had on Albies, and even Freddie Freeman, who was a I don't know that he had signed his extension yet. Maybe he had his first extension, but Freddie Freeman credits Ron Washington for every Gold Glove he gets.
So does Marcus Semien, who will tell you that Wash.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Oakland, Marcus Semien.
Yeah, Wash was the one who did it, and Eric Chavez gave Wash his Gold Gloves. Right, so he is the infield whisperer, and yes, he could make Freeman good. And DeMarcus, I don't know, Kelly man, but yes, he could make it really, really happen. So anyway, that'd be awesome. We would love that. Don't see it happening. Quickly on the on the awards finals. The Cy Young in the American League, Skubal, Brown, and Crochet. Hard to argue with. I really believe if Eovaldi had finished out the season and been a qualifier, which was going to be, dicey anyway. But if he had been a qualifier, and again maintained what he'd been doing, he'd be one of the three finalists.
Well, I certainly think that when the ballot comes out, it's a 5-player ballot. You'll see some Rangers who receive votes.
Sure.
DeGrom conceivably could receive votes. Same with Eovaldi. They didn't quite have the Cy Young level resume. Eovaldi did until he was hurt.
Right.
DeGrom still top 3, top 5 in a lot of those categories. So it'll be interesting to see, and that I believe is next week when the awards are announced.
Yeah. And then in the National League, and in the American League, by the way, Skubal's going to win it. I mean, it's like a foregone conclusion. And what's this PPI compensatory pick that the Astros get because of Brown? Do you know? Some sort of a compensatory pick because of some PPI. I saw it today. I hadn't heard of it,
and I don't want to say anything.
Yeah. So in the National League, it's Paul Skeens, Yamamoto, and Chris Sanchez from the Phillies. Look, if the voting took place after the World Series, there is no doubt that Yamamoto would win it. But the voting took place actually, Jeff, prior to the playoffs beginning, right?
Yeah, the end of the regular season.
So it's just regular season. So Skeens is going to win that one. And, I think, it's just as well. Yeah, the happy Tony Tuesday to you. And by the way, we may need to see if there's a Tony Tuesday before we're off the air, just to prove to everybody that Tony Tuesday exists.
Off season, he's logging with his brother. So
he's out there. He does a lot of
He might be
cutting.
doing some logging.
Yeah. A little tree cutting myself this weekend.
Attaboy, John.
Yeah. So we're going to get to the other award finalists here in just a minute. And also, we've got a Hall of Fame voter over here. So I want to lobby for a few guys who are in the, whatever that's called now, the modern era redo of guys who didn't get
Contemporary?
Yeah.
No, we don't vote on those guys. But
you don't?
No, that's a committee.
Oh, geez, I thought you got to vote.
Well, I certainly have opinions.
Yeah, well, that's good, too. I was hoping I was lobbying you. Anyway, that's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Well, once again, I've been caught with my pants down, but fortunately, I was quick on the computer here to tell you that you need to join the Supporters Club if you haven't already. it's fantastic, and we're due for a video, so we need to do one either tomorrow or next week when we get back from our various trips. Anyway, truly sicko level stuff. You saw the video. I thought was pretty good. I guess they had somehow missed us about Halloween candy.
Yeah,
that was a good one. John and I have talked about covering the playoffs, the managers we've worked with the Rangers, and who now we're going to be working with Skip Schumacher. So a new chapter there. You get emojis, but it's like giving you more than you already get by being a diehard or just being a good old follower in our chat, a subscriber to our YouTube channel. There's another level here, and we want you to do it by joining the Supporters Club.
Yeah, we would love for you to do that and love for you to avail yourself to our newsletter, too. It's free. All you have to do is go to our website, alldlls.com, and then scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the ability there to enroll in and to receive our newsletter. All you have to do is provide your email, and you'll get that newsletter every single day in your inbox, which is kind of cool. Right there in your inbox, it comes to you. This morning, Ali, who of course covers the covers the Cowboys on a daily basis.
Oh,
they traded a first rounder? Yeah, I saw that someone said stop the presses. They got, was it Marcel Quinnen?
Who? What does he do?
I don't know.
Oh,
well, they need that. Yeah. Did they get the guy?
They got some guy.
The middle linebacker from
the Bengals. I think.
Yeah, Logan.
I think his last name is Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Logan Wilson. Yeah. You can read all about it tomorrow on the newsletter. Anyway, see, newsletter. It'll be there tomorrow. Today, Ali wrote him off. He said the Cowboys are done. Done. So anyway, that's good stuff in the newsletter. And now, thank you, Kat, for that. I wondered why everybody was freaking out there.
Everybody's so excited.
The Cowboys crew is gone, for God's sake. But we do know that KG was out there, and he may be on our basketball show, but that's about
he could do any show.
Yeah, that's about the biggest Cowboys fan I've ever seen out there, Kevin Gray. Anyway, did I say enough? More than enough.
Yeah, let's go.
So let's keep talking. Let's go back to these awards. MVP, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, and Jose Ramirez from the Indians or Guardians. And again, it's a two-horse race. Ramirez is in there, and he should be, right? I mean, he's one of the three best players in the American League for sure.
For sure.
But my money, I don't have a vote. My money would be absolutely on Raleigh based on the fact that, he accomplished all that he did and all of it in the regular season, and he's a catcher, and he's a switch hitter, and he's a great guy. I mean, I would be voting for him, even over Aaron Judge, who had a great year numbers-wise.
Very good. Fantastic year. Probably, if we're being honest, statistically speaking, a better year than Cal Raleigh. Now, the impact, like what impact, do people still believe in that, playing for a winning team and the impact he had on the team?
Sure.
Do people still believe in that? And I think some voters do. But it's going to be an interesting debate. Cal Raleigh, the players selected Cal Raleigh as
did the Sporting News.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so we'll see what happens. But players don't get to vote on the award. It's it's the media, and a lot of us are stats driven, and it's just two from every team, so it's not like an entire East Coast bias that's going to be out there.
Right.
But it's going to be close, I think.
I do.
But too. I still think Judge is going to win.
Do you?
I do.
I hope Raleigh wins. I'm rooting for him big time. It's a foregone conclusion in the National League. Shohei, Soto, and Schwarber. Soto and Schwarber both make good cases, but Shohei, he added pitching to the arsenal after has he won it just 2 years in a row now? Right? One in the American League.
But I think he has 3 overall.
Yeah, last year in the National League, and I think he didn't win back-to-back in the American League, but he won 2. So anyway, I think Shohei wins that one again. Rookie of the Year is interesting because the A's from formerly of Oakland have 2 finalists. Nick Kurtz, who's probably going to win it, and Jacob Wilson.
Yeah.
For half the year, I'm going to say, Jeff, maybe not quite half. It looked like Jacob Wilson was going to be the guy.
Well, I mean, Kurtz didn't even start the season in the majors.
No, and then he surged,
and
man.
He came out and was fantastic.
Strong.
He just hitting home runs and all those great things that he did.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not able to comment on that one because that is the award I voted for.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I do believe that my top 3 were the finalists. I'll at least say that.
And Roman Anthony was the other finalist, so that's good.
Yeah.
Good voting. Very well done by you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate your voting. And thank you for your vote. Did you get a Snickers?
I did not get a Snickers.
I thought they were giving away
I even turned my ballot in early. So
did you?
It was pretty cut and dried.
Mail-in vote.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, I'm probably saying too much.
National League, Drake Baldwin, Caleb Durbin, and Cade Horton. I don't really have a feel. I feel like all of them were good, really good, but I don't have a feel for which one wins.
Who are they?
Drake Baldwin, Caleb Durbin, and Cade Horton. The fact that there's one pitcher in there makes me a little bit sad, although Roman Anthony's, worthy, but that Jack Leiter didn't get in.
Yeah.
Right?
It was when you stopped and looked at it, it's a pretty good ballot. Again, limited to 5 here. So I think Jack will appear on some ballots.
Yes.
I just don't think he'll be a top 3.
Yep. Okay. And then manager, it's John Schneider, it's Dan Wilson, and it's Stephen Vogt in the American
That's
League.
going to be a tight one.
I think it'll be tight, but you mentioned this. We were just kind of throwing stuff against the wall the other day, or I guess it was maybe when the player vote came out.
Maybe.
And I think they said Dan Wilson, and you're like, yeah, I got no problem with that. And then we're like, wait a minute. John Schneider's team was picked to finish last in the American League East this year.
True.
And they went to the World Series. He was on the hot seat at the beginning of the year. I don't think
they won the division. They won the East.
The first thing they did is win the division.
That's a pretty huge accomplishment.
It is in any day and age.
It's better than winning the American League West.
Yep.
Especially with the we discussed, the preseason expectations.
Yep. Dan Wilson, though, did a really good job, and the team, the front office, really supported him with a lot of additions at the trade deadline, which certainly helped. And then, Stephen Vogt is pretty amazing. I mean, 2 years now.
Absolutely.
And he's he's got his team in the playoffs both years. I mean, he is one of those, he's that guy you want to hit on. And maybe, I saw his former guy, Albernez, was introduced in Baltimore today. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's another one, right? These are these guys you go, where'd they come from? And Vogt definitely is one of those. In the National League, nobody says that about this guy, Terry Francona, Tito. Everybody knows where he came from. And I think he did deserve it to be a finalist in this thing. Absolutely. That's a heck of a job he did with the Reds coming out of retirement this year. Pat Murphy, not surprising. He's probably still got a pancake in his pocket, Jeff, and the pocket pancake. And interesting, too, with Rob Thompson, because right after they lost, the Phillies, that is, right after they lost, there was like this talk that, they're going to have a press conference. Is Rob Thompson going to be there? Are they going to keep him around?
Right.
And I'm like, dang, but again, that Philly, that's a tough crowd, Jeff.
Tough crowd.
So anyway, and then we've got this Hall of Fame stuff. We see you, weighing in on that, and we appreciate that. I think you feel the same way I do. I'd have voted for all. Is there 6 or 8 on this list, Kat? I'd have voted for all of them when I had the chance, when I was a voter, if I was a voter. She's getting it. She's getting it. Yeah, all right. There's 8 of them. All right. Are there any there you wouldn't have voted for? I'd vote for Donnie Baseball. Dale Murphy I'd vote for. Maybe
Fernando.
Maybe not Fernando because of the length of the body of work. I mean, Fernando Mania was unbelievable, but there's no doubt in my mind I'd vote for Roger Clemens. And Barry Bonds. I mean, but again, I know why. they weren't voted for. We all do, and I agree. I'm afraid I agree with Leon, who said it earlier. They're probably not getting in.
Now, the last, they fell off the ballot, and then they were immediately on this up for this this committee, this group, and we're on the ballot of 8, and they didn't even come close. I think I don't. Shame on me. I don't know if it's 16 or if it's 12, but you have to have 75%. So if it's 12, you have to have 9. If it's 16, you have to have 12. And they didn't come close. And so I don't think in 2 years the tenor has changed that much. I think that the guys that were on that ballot, Mattingly, Murphy, and Valenzuela, and I think Delgado had fallen off the ballot before I had the opportunity to vote.
Okay.
But the other 4 on there, Bonds, Clemens, Jeff Kent, Sheffield, I all voted for.
You did?
Yeah. If you look at Jeff Kent's numbers as a second baseman, they're fantastic. And I'm a big believer in putting the best players at their positions in the Hall of Fame. So I think when this group gets together right before the winter meetings, I think Murphy and Kent are very strong candidates, and Sheffield, he came pretty close in his last year on the ballot. That one wouldn't surprise me either. So I'm going to kind of say that those are the 3 favorites.
And do you know who comprises that committee? Whether it's 12 or 16?
It's usually a combination of Hall of Famers,
okay,
media members, and maybe some other people. I
hope that maybe some of the Hall of Famers are among steroid guys, right? So that they can get the steroid guys in there. Everybody was doing steroids. That one just bothers me so much. But
and then Mattingly, maybe tugging at some heartstrings here. From this year. He's been in baseball so long and all that.
Yeah.
He was also, though, kind of, I don't want to say a flash in the pan, but it wasn't sustained success.
Right.
And then his dominance wasn't Koufax-like dominance.
Right.
But when you think of 1980s baseball, who do you think of? Dale Murphy, Fernando Valenzuela, and Don Mattingly are 3 of the names. And, George Brett, of course, and, Nolan Ryan on the pitching side. Guys like that, Ryan Sandberg, all right, he's in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, players,
Jack Morris,
these players of the decades, and I thought that was kind of the biggest case Jack Morris had, because he didn't get in until his very last year.
Yeah,
like nobody won more games in the '80s than Jack Morris.
I know.
And his ERA was high, and he said, well, a lot of that was I was pitching to the score. And people are like,
shouldn't have.
But he was good, and by
really
God,
good,
and he pitched on like World Series teams.
Oh yeah, multiple.
How good was he that in '91?
Yeah,
I mean that game,
that
12 7, 10 innings,
10 innings. Okay.
Good Lord. Yeah. So anyway, so let's say the 4 top would be Murphy, Sheffield, Mattingly, and Kent, with then Delgado
and Valenzuela.
And Valenzuela and Sheffield and Clemens. The committee changes all the time, so maybe the sentiment has changed among those guys. But these Hall of Fame players are very sensitive to the steroid guys. I recall that in the past, Joe Morgan sent a letter out to Hall of Fame voters saying, don't let these guys who are linked to steroids in. So,
interesting.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting because, again, we know some guys who, I don't know if they were necessarily linked, but who were part of that life are in. So, but maybe because they weren't as linked. I mean, obviously Bonds was, obviously Clemens was, obviously Palmeiro was. Maybe that's the distinction there. So anyway, that's coming up. I think December, is it 7th? I think it's December 7th.
December 7th is a Sunday. Yeah, that's when everybody convenes for.
I think that's the vote on December 7th for that one. So up next, it's our cleanup segment. There is a lot to talk about as we wrap up this show and the day with batting cleanup next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Look, we tell you every day, become a diehard. You get stuff like things that I've written here in the last week, although that Maddox story was free, the Beasley one wasn't. Most of our stuff, in fact, is behind the paywall, and that's not just me. That's all of our beats with Ron over there on the Mavs, who's doing a great job, Clarence and Ali on the Cowboys, and then Sam over on the Stars. Look, we cover these teams better than anyone else in the area, including the Dallas newspaper. It's just we have a beat writer for every group. That's all we do. Yep. We're not jumping between beats. We are. I mean, we would. We'd be willing to do it
if somebody needed us to.
But that's not how we roll. We're dedicated to all four of these teams, and it's good stuff. I mean, Clarence has been covering the Cowboys since I think the second Clinton administration.
Wow.
To be perfectly honest. Yeah. I've been covering the Cowboys or the Rangers since Obama's first term, which, we're working on 20 years now. We're getting there.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's money well spent. It's $6.50 a month, and you get discounts on stuff, and you get a free T-shirt, right, John?
You do indeed, and it would be as cool as this one, also as patriotic as this one on voting day.
Perfect.
And I think
you don't need no sticker if you got a shirt on like that.
I don't. Was Clinton president in 90? I don't know.
No, George Bush was.
Bush was. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, I've been covering these teams since George H.W. Bush.
That's right. The older
His son was owning the Rangers at the time when he had people talking in their wrist. And if they were around today, and I've seen some of those Secret Service guys that hang around George W., and they're fun guys. And if they were around us today, I'd give them a dang shirt, DLLS shirt, so they could represent. And you should get a DLLS shirt so you can represent too. Store.allcitynetwork.com. All right. So news, the Red Sox have avoided arbitration with and thus signed for 1 year Jarren Duran.
Oh, so man, we can take that. Everybody was fired up for Jarren Duran.
Yeah, that whole thing is now off the table because he's staying in Boston. And I had no idea why they would even entertain a trade for him anyway. And I don't know that they were, but that was out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's 2 years removed from an unbelievable season, and his season this year was not bad. Rangers would have taken it.
Yep.
And so that is not surprising news.
No.
And let's go ahead and just
and
take him off the list.
Let's get to the somewhat surprising news, which is that the Braves named Walt Weiss as their manager. Now, if they'd named Walt Weiss as their manager on October 5th, or 4th instead of November 4th, that wouldn't have been surprising. He's been the bench coach for Brian Snitker for, 8 years, I think. So, seems natural, right? It's a logical progression. And Walt Weiss is, just a great emissary, right, for the game and former player. And there's so much good about Walt Weiss. There is some criticism going on in Atlanta now. Like, seriously? You went through a month-long search and you took the guy internally? And it does generally, I think in this case, Jeff, beg the question, all right, who did they want that they couldn't get?
Yeah.
And then settled for Walt Weiss. But,
I don't know.
We didn't hear his name, in the actual search as it began.
Well, I don't know that you heard a lot of names tied to the Braves, which was a credit to them and the way they did their job and keeping it quiet like the Rangers. Although in past Ranger searches, they would tell you who they interviewed.
Yeah.
Even the last one, they're like, hey, we interviewed Tony Beasley. And then there was a silence, and then all of a sudden, Bruce Bochy was the manager.
Signed Bruce Bochy, yeah.
But I remember at one of Henry's T-ball games writing a little story on my phone when they had announced a round of candidates, probably for the Woodward job. So, so who's left? The Padres?
Yeah.
And the Rockies?
Orioles have Albornoz. Yep.
Padres
Rockies.
and the Rockies.
Rockies don't even have a president of baseball operations yet.
Yeah.
That's amazing. They better get going. They don't have a general manager. And the GM meetings are next week.
Well,
I don't think they have an assistant GM either.
Yeah, it's going to be a quiet contingent. Rockies contingent.
Rockies are going to send their owner. I guess their owner's son, though, Montfort's son, is the director of pro scouting there. I guess under worst case scenario, you just send him. But
he might have some insight.
Yeah, probably would. Should. So other teams are naming their assistant coaches, and I was surprised because I just hadn't. Jeff probably knew this. He's kept up with him better, but I didn't know this about the Reds. But the Reds sent out the notice that they have, made these staff updates, and their
Mike Napoli,
bench coach, Mike Napoli. Did you know he was there?
I knew he was still coaching. I lost track of him.
I love Nap.
Well, he played for Francona in Cleveland.
Yep.
Brad Mills, his retirement, but he was with Francona for a while. We sure do like Nap, and he probably keeps it very loose.
Yes,
that's Nap's job.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, personality-wise, and I think they were teammates. I think Nap and Bobby Wilson were teammates. I think they overlapped in
15.
Anaheim,
I would say. And in Anaheim.
Yeah. So anyway, Bobby Wilson always kind of reminded me of Nap.
Mm-hmm.
Personality-wise, loose, fun, awesome, fun to hang out with.
Nap was just a competitor. I know.
And that's the other thing. Yeah.
That kind of got lost, but he remember in game 5 maybe it was game 6 in 11 he wrecked his ankle.
Yeah.
And the next day he was catching. He got traded to the Rangers by the Blue Jays after the Blue Jays had acquired him from the Angels, and they're getting ready to play the Angels in early spring training game, and he was talking about, there's some sports hate.
Yeah.
And he always raised his level against the Angels.
Yep.
In fact, in that very season 11, last day of the regular season, Rangers need a win. Otherwise, they have to go to New York to open the division series. If they win, they get to go home and open at home against the Rays.
Right.
And so, as beat writers, we had on hold flights home and a flight overnight red eye to New York because he'd had to be there the next day. And ninth inning, it's 1-1 thanks to a Napoli homer, and they're facing his pal Jeff Weaver, and Napoli hits a home run in the 9th, and that is the only time I have ever cheered in the press box. And it was very quiet because it was kind of under the table, fist bumps.
Okay, it wasn't a loud cheer.
Yeah, but
not like you stood up and spilled your popcorn.
I was so happy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Nap was really a fun guy to have around, a fun guy to cover. And looky there, the Reds have already announced their staff. So how about that? Edwin Diaz has opted out. He's got 3 years left on his Mets contract, $28 million. And, he wants more. And I guess word is that, there's still a chance he stays with the Mets because the reality is the Mets are the team that will likely offer him more. Be comfortable offering him more than what he was making, which was a significant amount of money, but not, Hader money, right? Isn't Hader making $19 a year?
I think it's pretty good money. I think Diaz was big money
out there.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. And he's kind of a beloved guy there in New York, and the trumpet deal, whatever that song is called from Narcos. And anyway, that's cool. The closer market, don't get too excited, Rangers fans. All right.
They're not signing Edwin Diaz.
They're not signing Edwin Diaz.
No, they're not signing Edwin Diaz.
Yeah.
Shota Imanaga. The Cubs.
Imanaga.
The Cubs starting pitcher has opted out. I think it was a mutual opt-out. I think the Cubs opted out of him, and he opted out because he had a $15 million player option for 1 year, and I think they owe him 22 I'm not sure about the number, but they owe him. They had a three-year option that they could have exercised. And anyway, both opted out. Now, he's a guy I'd be interested in. I don't know what the money is, but I think it's, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be lower than 15, though, would it?
Yeah, he's not a particularly hard thrower, Imanaga. He's a crafty left-hander, if you will. From Japan. He dealt with an injury this year because he pitched really well against the Rangers. He was great early on. He might have been the NL Pitcher of the Month for April. Then it kind of went backwards on him. It's an interesting name, there, and these players who have the opt-outs from these other teams and elect to become free agents. The free agent pool is growing, and Pete Alonso,
yep,
Alex Bregman, they all opted out.
Yep.
But the Mariners picked up the option on Andre Munoz, which isn't at all a surprise considering how good of a closer he is, and what a value it is. Jesus Louise, and they still have options on him for the next 2 years, I believe.
Bellinger opted out, too.
Bellinger opted out.
Says he'd like to stay in New York.
Probably not a surprise.
No. Yeah.
And I don't, that seems like New York would like to keep him, too.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Got the Scott Boras thing going there, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. Hey, did you hear about the father-son tandem that both in Blue Jays gear, by the way, that caught the Rojas and the Smith home run balls?
I did not hear about that.
A father and son caught those 2 home run balls in the stands. Again, both Canadians, I don't know if they're Canadians, but they're big Blue Jays fans.
Let's just go ahead and stereotype them there.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet.
They both eat donuts and back bacon and say, anyway. They have both of these balls that, of course, everybody would love to.
Yeah.
Dodger fans love. They'll sell them both, Jeff. Package deal.
Oh.
They'll sell them both for the tidy sum of $2.5 million.
Well, the Dodgers can afford it.
I wonder. I mean, because, again, there's a big thing going on already. I mean, I saw on one of these socials yesterday, the Dodgers are selling game-used balls, and they're selling the nameplates off some of the lockers in the locker rooms that have the little World Series emblem on them.
Okay.
And with the Dodger fans especially, that's not going to be cheap. They're auctioning them. I mean, they're going to be for the Dodgers Foundation or some such. But $2.5 million if you've got it and you want those 2 baseballs. Where's BC? I mean,
BC.
BC's a big Dodger fan.
As you know, at Dodger Stadium, like in the, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's for all people or if you have to be on that certain level there, but they have all the awards.
Yes, yeah,
like the Gold Gloves and the Cy Youngs, and just kind of mounted on walls.
You have
and
to
cabinets.
be in that
a little area there.
That little area.
Anyway,
the dugout suites.
Seems like that's an investment the Dodgers would want to make. These cherished World Series balls.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and so Leon's saying the Rangers auctioned a bunch of stuff, too. I didn't know that. Our buddy Gabe Kapler, who so in his very first game as a Texas Ranger, he hit 2 home runs on opening day to win for the Rangers at home. And I was doing sideline reporting at the time, and he's coming. I do the walk-off interview with Gabe, and I go, wow, I mean, could you ever even dream of a day like this? I've dreamed of days much bigger than this. Okay, well, it's been nice meeting you, Gabe. And I get it. You know what? I don't mind a guy who has big dreams. But come on. You just hit 2 home runs in your first game after being traded for Juan Gonzalez, no less.
Yeah, come on, man.
But I do like Gabe.
Help the sideline reporter out.
That answer to a legitimate question notwithstanding, I like Gabe, and he's really done an amazing job in baseball. I didn't think he was a terrible manager. Well, maybe he was terrible in Philly, his first job. I thought he was pretty good in San Francisco. Obviously not great, but he's climbed the ranks pretty well because he was something else in Miami, right? Was he the assistant GM or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And now he's the GM.
Yeah, so. He's a big numbers guy, big analytics guy.
Yeah.
Too big.
Yeah. So, I'm with you there. But he was always that modern guy, always working on the cutting edge of the modern, eras in baseball and all that stuff. So anyway, that's the cleanup segment for today. We've only got one more day of Jeff this week because he's got a birthday trip happening with the wife. So we'll have Abby in here Thursday and Friday. Jeff and I will be back tomorrow. And each of those days will come to you at 1 o'clock, which is really cool because you can set your watch by it. We're here at 1 each of the next 3 days with editions of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.